The Drummer's Echo. It was a fog-drenched evening during the waning days of the American Civil War. The 15th Infantry Regiment camped near a forgotten stretch of the Shenandoah Valley. The men huddled around their fires, their conversations muted by exhaustion and the oppressive chill that seemed to crawl into their bones. Young Thomas Hale, a drummer boy no older than 14, sat alone, tightening the snares on his drum. The older soldiers often teased him about his perpetual duty of signaling commands, but tonight, even the jests were absent. The valley's eerie silence gnawed at everyone. Around midnight, a faint drumming sound echoed from the foggy woods. It was faint but unmistakable, a rhythm eerily similar to the one Thomas played during battle. The camp stirred uneasily. "Who's out there?" whispered Corporal Graves, peering into the mist. No one answered, but the drumming grew louder, closer. Thomas, pale-faced, swore he hadn't touched his drum. Still, he couldn't shake the strange compulsion rising within him, as though the phantom beat was calling to him. Against his better judgment, he stood and stepped into the fog. The soldiers shouted after him, but he was already swallowed by the dense mist. Following the sound, he stumbled through the woods until he reached a clearing. There, in the moonlight, stood a boy, a drummer just like him, dressed in the tattered uniform of the Confederacy. His face was pale, his eyes hollow, and his hands beat a rhythm on a blood-stained drum. Thomas opened his mouth to speak, but the boy's drumming drowned out his voice. The rhythm grew faster, more chaotic, as the air filled with ghostly whispers. Around the clearing, shadowy figures emerged, soldiers from both sides of the war, their spectral forms locked in eternal battle. As the ghostly drummer's rhythm reached a fever pitch, Thomas felt his body stiffen. His hands moved on their own, mirroring the ghost's cadence on his own drum. The two beats merged into one, summoning the spirits closer. The next morning, the soldiers of the 15th found Thomas's drum lying in the clearing. His footprints ended abruptly, as though he'd vanished into the air. Nearby, a weathered gravestone bore an inscription. "To those who played the Song of War, may their echoes haunt the land forevermore." The soldiers burned the drum that day, but on foggy nights, the rhythm of two drummers could still be heard in the valley, calling the dead to rise.